Hello, baseball fans, friends, families, foes. Leachy and his one-hit wonder podcast is back at it. Today, I finally got a guest, so you guys don't just have to hear me talk. I got my long-time brother from another mother, compadre, 35-year friendship, Mr. Kevin Jordan, Philadelphia Philly finest. So I looked up some stuff on KJ today before we start this podcast. Oh, first I want to say we're out here in Novato, California at my buddy James Grossi, the Grossi family, their farm. And they've had ponds out here that we come fishing. I've been coming out here since I was a kid, reconnected with the Grossis. And next you know, I'm bringing KJ, my brother, anyone who wants to catch a fish with us in Northern California, this is where we at. We try to come out once, twice a month. There's 4 beautiful ponds out here, and we can catch some fish. Now, starting off, all right, I'm going to talk about KJ. I done lost the stats. Oh, he was drafted by the Yankees. We were both drafted by the Yankees. 1990 draft. He was traded to the Phillies. When were you traded to the Phillies? 1994.
January 94.
Traded from the Yankees to the Phillies. He spent his entire big league playing career for the Phillies. And I looked up some stats on KJ. What'd I say? You're a 258 hitter?
Mm-hmm.
How many career homers did you hit, KJ?
23.
23.
Same as my number.
Same as his number. And his best year in the big leagues was, what, 1999?
Yeah.
1999. Before I forget, please like, subscribe, share, comment, whatever. Tell us you hate us, you love us. But I wanted to finally get someone on and talk about baseball and funny stories and, you know, just and then what he's doing now. So I'm just gonna off the cuff ask KJ some questions and let him give his answers. So KJ, when did you get introduced to baseball?
Probably when I was about 7. My first game I went to that I remember, Bill Madlock was Bill Madlock. They had just got traded. Obviously, I didn't know as a kid. He just got traded over from the Cubs, and they gave him he won the batting title the year before, so they gave him like the batting title, almost like a silver bat. So that was probably my first game. And I think I was 7, and then I just liked it. So I go to the park all the time with Pops, come home from work, me and my buddies, and then it just took off from there.
Wow, that's awesome. When did you realize you had a chance to do something with baseball?
Like professionally?
No, as a youth.
I think it's just because I could always hit. I don't, like even as a kid, I had really good hand-eye coordination. And I just think I just like to compete. That was probably the biggest thing for me is I love to compete. And it just so happened that I could do it in baseball because I could hit.
That makes sense. And yes, you he can hit. And he's a phenomenal hitting coach. KJ Hitting on IG. And KJHitting.com on his website. So where did you go to high school? Where were you born?
Born and raised in San Francisco, California. I went to Lowell High School, which is out in the avenues, probably about maybe 10 minutes from the beach, even though our beaches in San Francisco aren't like real beaches. They're just kind of dirty. But they're, if you're from the city, you're used to it, so it's not a big deal.
Cool. And then from Lowell, did you go to a 4-year? What was your route to getting drafted by the Yankees?
So I went to Kenyatta Junior College down the road with the city. I had no idea where to go, so I had nothing out of high school except for I talked to the San Francisco State coach. My high school coach took me to talk to the state coach when I was a senior, and the coach said, all right, you can come here. We'll redshirt you the first year. You'll sit on the bench your freshman year. You'll play a little your sophomore year, and then by your senior year, you should have a chance to start. So I was excited. I was like, perfect, I'll do that. And then my summer league coach, Mr. King, Tom King, said, why don't you go down to Kenyatta in Redwood City? I had no idea where Redwood City was, because for a lot of kids that grow up in the city, especially years ago, we never left the city because we had no need to, because the city for us was so big and we had so many different players and so much. By the way, I just got oh, dang, I had one, my bad. So, oh, mama, damn. So, anyway, so I went down to Kenyatta, and it was amazing for us because when you drive and if you leave the city and it's foggy, by the time you get down to San Mateo, which is almost to Redwood City, it just opens up. So it was amazing going to Kenyatta because they had grass. They had home run fences. In San Francisco, we don't have fences. You just hit it. And if you can get a home run, if you hit a ball down the third baseline and run fast enough, or you could hit a ball and you crush and not be able to, you know, someone could catch it. So I did Kenyatta, and then, which was a great experience. And after Kenyatta, I went to Nebraska for a year in the Big 8, which was really, I always say that helped me probably more than anything prepare me for pro ball, because it was so cold at Nebraska, and our coach taught us how to play, believe it or not, in the cold, just like the mindset you need. And obviously for baseball, pretty much everywhere you go in April is freezing.
No doubt.
So I always, you know, knock on wood, was successful early in the year, but I think it's just because my college coach prepared us for how to be able to play in the cold and how to deal with it. And then I ended up signing 1990 with the Yankees.
Right. And going into the draft of 1990, were you hoping, expecting, did you have pro aspirations, or were you just, you know, like I know for me, in all honesty, I just wanted to play college baseball. I didn't know much about the pro game. So for me, Pepperdine was the end of the line until I got there, and then they told me you got a chance to play pro ball. Did you have pro aspirations?
Yeah, I think so. For me, my first year in junior college, I think I might have hit 2 homers. Then I could hit, and then I remember after my first year, I kind of panicked, and I told my dad, I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do after Kenyatta? You know, because back then there was obviously, we didn't have internet. Only way you knew what someone was doing, even the guys that played in the minors, was they'd put out, I think every week in Examiner, they put out players from the Bay Area, so then you kind of had it, you could find out, but that was it. You couldn't find out what anyone was doing, and I didn't even know about how to go to a 4-year school or what to do. So I told my dad, I don't want to go to, I want to try to play professionally, at least go to college. And so then he said, all right, what we're going to do then, and he said, we're going to start hitting home runs. So that summer, luckily for me, I was a young 18, meaning when I graduated high school, I was still 17, so I could play Joe DiMaggio, which was 18-year-old kids. So I was playing, after my first year at junior college, I got to play basically with high school kids. And so literally all I did all summer was practice trying to hit home runs. So I take BP with my dad and pulled 100% of the baseballs, because we didn't have a screen when he threw to me. We never had a pitching screen. And obviously we didn't have indoor facilities or any of that kind of stuff. So I hit off the tee in the morning, and then when he'd come home from work, if we went out, we'd go, and all I tried to do was just hit homers. Now, I didn't have power, especially in batting practice, but I learned how to take the inner half pitch and be able to get the barrel up front and just basically, you know, his thing was you could hit one 380 to center for an out, or you could hit one 320 down the line for a homer. So I think I hit 13 homers at Kenyatta, but I pulled every home run, like left center to the left field line. I never hit a ball out in center in my life, ever, in any level.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've never hit a ball right of left center for a home run ever. I pulled every home run I ever hit. I hit a couple of the minors out to right, like straightaway right.
Right.
But so we did that, then I just took off. Then I hit like 13 home runs, and we went to the state championship, our team. And then I got drafted in the 10th round by the Dodgers, and didn't sign with them. It just wasn't, you know, I wanted more money. They didn't want to give me more money. And so then from there, I already had a scholarship to Nebraska, so I ended up going out to Nebraska. But I think for me, after my second year at Kenyatta, I could kind of tell that, I think I'm gonna have a chance to get drafted this year, just by how I started swinging the bat early in the season, and we had a ton of scouts coming out, and then I just carried it. And like I said, we were a really good team, and we made it to the state finals at SAC to play against Sac City, so we had a lot of scouts out there. But I think that's when I kind of realized I think I'll be able to play, or at least I'll be able to sign. I don't know how good I was going to be in pro ball,
right?
Which is another story.
Yeah, no, that's all good stuff. And those of you who don't know, KJ can hit any old teammate that we had, and I'm talking from the jump, from Oneonta, New York Penn League champions, 1990. Thank you, Trey Hillman, Kenny Dominguez, Mark Shiflett,
and
Brian. I'm drawing a blank on it. Dang,
Milner.
Brian Milner.
Yeah,
his son pitched in the big leagues. Yeah, lefty, right?
Yeah.
He was a lefty.
Yeah.
Thank you to those guys because they broke us in to pro ball.
And Greg Spratt was our trainer.
Oh, yeah, Spratty. What's up?
John Dubois was our clubhouse guy.
Jeez, you going way back. Yeah. No, I don't remember him.
Dubois or Dubido or...
Dubido. And Sam Nader was the owner, right?
Man, fantastic.
Sam. So, they basically, our team was comprised of, mostly, I'd say, if not all college players.
Mostly college players.
Coming from, I'm just off the top of my head. Matty Dunbar from
Florida State.
Who else did we have?
We had Rich Hines was from Ole Miss.
Yep.
Clemson was
Ron Frazier. And was Haji with us?
Haji was from Ferrum. Ojala was from Michigan.
That's right.
Sam Militello was University of Tampa.
And the head coach still there at Tampa.
Yeah. We had... You were Pepperdine. I was Nebraska.
Where did Deller go? Bob Deller.
Texas Arlington. Was it Texas Arlington?
UTA?
He was from Arlington. I know that.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So he's from Arlington. Anyone else? Aney was Dutch.
Yeah, he was Dutch. Strick was already there.
Yeah, Strick.
But Strick, I think, went to. Did he go to St.? I don't know where Strick went, but he's from
St. Louis. Yeah.
I don't want
to. Bo Sievers.
Dude, Bo
Texas
Sievers,
A&M,
and Tripp. Rick Landtrip.
Oh, I was just telling.
Was from University of Arizona.
Yes.
And then we had the high school cats. Obviously, we had Scotty
Romano. Where you at, Scotty?
Scotty's out of high school.
Aiden Lowry.
Aiden was out of high school. God, who else?
Our closer, not Sievers.
Perez.
Yes.
Carlos
Perez?
No,
and he's a friend of mine on Facebook.
Kiriko is on our team.
Yeah, Kiriko,
you got in trouble for throwing that ball, and Utica throwing the ball on the fence and made the whole.
Cesar Perez. Sorry, Cesar.
Sorry, Cesar. Yeah, dude, he threw so hard.
Yeah, he did. He did. Yeah, but we had a great team. It was a team, and we were trying to win. Every night, and I don't know what our record was, but we rolled.
We ended up having the second longest streak and win streak that summer. Maybe it's like 21 games. I remember the longest, I think, was like the Utah. Remember there was like a team in Utah.
In like the Pioneer League or something?
No, it was they were a AAA team. Not Utah Sox. What was the Sox team? I don't know, but it was
the Silver Sox.
No, it was the one that what was the Giants AAA back in the day?
Giants.
Colorado. It was Colorado.
Colorado Springs.
There was a team that was they were a AAA, but I think they were non-affiliated.
Oh.
But they ended up winning
more games than we did. But I think, and I mean, what do you think, KJ? When we came up as Yankees, they taught us how to play like. I know we didn't play in the analytical era, but we knew like the fundamentals. Like we knew runner on second, no out. Didn't matter who you were, you had to get the runner over, and then, the pitchers had to throw strikes and they had to command the ball. And 2 strikes, we had to put the ball in play, whereas now it's like I see it at all levels. Kids punch out 3, 4, 5 times a game and it's no big deal, and we always used to make fun of each other. What do you think about the development the Yankees did? Well, shoot, it led to what? 4? How many World Series they win?
4.
4?
Yeah, that era with Jorge, G.
Yeah, Pettit, Posada.
Bernie was with them.
Yeah, Bernie. So
all homegrown dudes.
So the way we learn how to play the game as a team, I don't know if it's valued as much in today's game. And, you know, maybe that's something the game needs to get back to is sometimes you got to give yourself up for the team. I know rolling over a ball as a left-handed batter with a run on second, no outs, I know it goes down as a 0 for 1 in the book, but at the end of the day, you're helping the team win or move the runner over to possibly score a run to help the team, you know, get in a better position to win. So, you know, how do you feel about, you know, when we came up, the old school, whatever you want to call it, versus what's going on in today's game?
I think even when I do lessons with kids, I say, what's the result if it's 2 strikes and you swing and miss or you take a called third strike, right? It's obvious. You're out. I don't care who you are. You already know. You go right back to the bench. But what's the result going to be if you put the ball in play? Who knows? But at least you know that there's a possibility every time you put the ball on the field, even if you don't hit it good. I mean, I've crushed balls off my knuckles that went over the pitcher's head and landed on the dirt, and you got a hit. It didn't say line drive in the box. It just said one, you know, it didn't say blooper. It didn't say pop out that fell. It said 1 at bat, 1 hit. So I think for kids, it's understanding you have to figure out a way to put the ball in play because anything can happen if you put the ball in play. But if you're a team, if you get 27 outs and 12 to 15 of them are strikeouts, you have 15 strikeouts. That means you literally have only 12 opportunities, albeit unless you get a walk, in order to try to score. I think the era we played in too, strikeouts were not tolerable. So it didn't matter how well you were doing. You had to be outstanding in order, or the organization would tell you. And that was pretty much every organization. You know, even when you got, you know, for guys that got a chance to get to the big leagues, you could be, young guys would be raking but striking out too much, and you'd have from the first base coach to the manager, even the trainer might tell you, hey, son, if you want to play up here, you're gonna have to put the ball in play a little bit more. So it was unacceptable to have a ton of strikeouts for the obvious reason. And I just, you know, the game's definitely evolved. Like every sport, it's evolved. But I like to see guys go up there and put the ball in play. I think too, and you can attest to this, like you can only control so much in this game. You know, you can control your effort. Is the obvious one, but there is something about having an at-bat where you go up there and you foul off 5-6 pitches and make the pitcher work, even if he ends up striking you out, to where you feel like that the pitcher had to earn your out. You know, that's one of the things that's probably not talked about, because you hear about easy outs and tough outs. And when they say a tough out, you talk about a tough out as someone like Ohtani, you know, or Soto. They still call them outs because 7 out of 10 times you're still getting out. So if you had the reputation of being a tough out, those are the kinds of things that you want as a hitter, because you're still an out. The best guys in the game are still outs, you know. And if you understand that, you want to have the reputation of being a tough out, not an easy out. And being a tough out is someone that can go up there and compete regardless of who's on the mound, and also with 2 strikes be able to protect. And like I said, it might be just rolling over with 2 strikes, but you put the ball in play. And anytime you put the ball on the field, you give yourself a chance, and you give your team a chance.
No, that's good stuff. I just talked about that, KJ. See, and we hadn't even talked. I just talked about that on my last episode, and I recited an at-bat that Cody Bellinger had in spring training, where he basically spoiled pitches. And he just fouled them off, wore the pitcher down. Then the pitcher made a mistake, and he roped it in the gap for a double. So that's funny that you talk about that. But I know we can do probably goobs and gobs of hitting podcasts. So I'm gonna change it up, because this kind of just came to mind. So for the people out there, remember when we went and played winter ball in Venezuela and the Yankees put us on the 40-man roster, okay? And that all happened. And then we thought, and we were going to go to big league camp. See, and this is another thing I got a bone to pick with. Big league camp, when we were coming up, was like you won the lotto. Now everybody gets to go play in big league game. We thought the big leagues was like untouchable.
And we never even saw the big leaguers. Because
Yeah.
we were in Tampa, and the big leaguers in Fort Lauderdale. So we never saw, the first time we saw a big leaguer
Randy Velarde
was Randy Velarde in 1993. And we were making the playoffs, or trying, and good dude. But we're like, bro, we're trying to make the playoffs. We need you to get hits. You can't go up there just trying to have ABs.
Yeah.
Like, because he was getting in work because he was going to go back up. He did hit a walk-off home run, no force.
Yeah,
If you
so-
remember.
Yeah.
And he was super cool. I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
But
so
that was the first time we saw a big leaguer.
yeah, I mean they weren't real to us. But to parlay onto that story, remember when did the Yankees trade you to the Phillies? Because let me give this little side story. We both are from Northern California. I think I was in Nevada and you were in the city.
Yeah,
so after we did our Venezuela and we got put on the 40-man roster and we were going to go to big league camp in Fort Lauderdale, we were going to drive out from San Francisco or the Bay Area all the way to Fort Lauderdale, which is
3 days.
Yeah, 3 days. And so before I get into the story and all that, I want you, when did the Yankees tell you that they had traded you?
So we came back from Venezuela, and I remember looking at like a Baseball America. Might have been in January, because we had to wait every month to look at Baseball America, know what's going on, right?
Yeah.
So I remember, and they said Marty Wooliver was now with the Phillies. Marty Wooliver was the scout in Nebraska and that basically signed me. Greg Orr signed me in terms of the paperwork because he was from California, but the scout that put me in was Marty Wooliver. So Marty Wooliver had taken the head scouting job with the Phillies, and who were my favorite team growing up. And I remember telling my dad, I said, "Oh, this guy Marty Wooliver, I'd never even met the man. Dad, he's now with the Phillies." I said, "Wouldn't that be cool if I got traded to the Phillies?" And it might have been 2 days later, I got a phone call, and it was the general manager from the Phillies, Lee Thomas, saying, "Congratulations, you got traded. You, Bobby Munoz, and Ryan Karp got traded to the Phillies for Terry Mulholland." And so then from there it was like, oh God, I got to try to figure out, because I knew nothing. When you're
Right.
back then too, fraternization is very popular now in sports. For a while, we never did. So
Yeah.
whoever you played for, that's only people you knew and you hung out with. At least that for me. I didn't have.
Yeah, we didn't hug and
No.
go across the field before the
we
game.
didn't meet you.
and-
No.
No. you getting
No,
serious?
even to this day, most of the dudes I know I played with, I was cool with everyone like you are, but I wasn't really, I was playing. I didn't really, those are things for me. I just didn't. We learned not to do it. And definitely with the Yankees, we had so many rules with the Yankees. We had rules where there's actually a Yankee book that we had, but there's rules like if the sun was out, it didn't even have to be sunshine. Let's say it was a cloudy day and the sun was out, and you dropped a pop-up and you didn't have your flip downs on, $50. 50, 100, 250, and then 250 in suspension. You can get, if you swore on the field, it was $50 fine.
That's
if they heard you
right. I
swear.
forgot about these.
No. So you just come up with the Yankees. It was just different. It was super professional, which was cool because it made you feel prideful to be a professional.
Yeah.
But definitely a Yankee. I always tell people when we were in the minors, we never played a road game because everywhere you went, they cheered for us. Not us personally, but for the Yankees, because everyone had someone or some kind of connection to the Yankees, it seemed like, whether it was an uncle or a grandfather or something. So we never played road games growing up.
Yeah, that's true. And the Yankees did have some rules. I mean, I know they just relaxed the no shaving just now, but yeah, we had clean shaven hair,
collared shirts, no jewelry.
Yeah, no jewelry.
No sweats, no holes in your jeans every day. We had one year in 1991, we played in Lauderdale in 91, the Florida State League, and we had to come up, and for whatever reason, I guess they wanted us to be even more tired because the Florida State League was the most exhausting league ever.
No doubt.
And for whatever reason, when we came up to play the local Tampa Bay teams, like the Phillies and the Cardinals
Dunedin.
And the Blue Jays. Yeah. We had to go every morning over to the complex and practice in the morning, which was crazy. But one year, it was either that time or I think it might have been that time, or spring training. Steinbrenner was coming to town. So when you pulled up in the vans, the trainers were at the front door, and they were turning guys away and sending them back to the hotel to shave, change your shirt. So everything was super buttoned up with the Yankees, like no other organization.
Sure.
I can't think of any other organization that would have been close to that in terms of that. But they made you feel, anyone that plays the Yankees, you could always say is they made you feel like prideful that you were in a Yankee uniform, and that it was an honor to wear a Yankee uniform. Our first year in 1990, I don't know if you remember, Leachy, but we wore the big league pants. You remember that?
Right.
I had Don Mattingly's pants.
Their names were in their pants.
Yeah, I'm wearing Don Mattingly's pants, and I'm in Oneonta. I don't even know where the hell Oneonta. I mean, I know where it's now, but yeah. So the Yankees always made you feel prideful. We had to polish our shoes every day. Your shoes had to be polished. We had to blouse our pants, which means we had to show at least 6 inches of sock every day, and it was non-negotiable. This top, which is like a coach's top, imagine if this said NY on it. If I did not go to big league camp, I couldn't wear this. So if you had a buddy that went to big league camp and he gave you his top in the minors, they took it off you. So you couldn't even act like you've been anywhere unless you were with the Yankees. And it didn't matter whether you were the first pick or whether you were a free agent.
This is true. And I think they were brainwashing us, because if you got to New York and had to play under that day in and day out pressure, they wanted to make sure you could handle it, because New York will, as we know, New York will gobble you up if you're not thick of skin and ready for what may be thrown at you. But I want to pivot from there to when you got traded, because we had been together, 3 years up until that point?
Everywhere. Every
From
place we played.
Oneonta to the Florida State League to Prince William. Shout out Mylene Purdy, our host mom, and Felicia Lopolicolo, and feeding us. Hi, Felicia and Lorenzo.
God. We couldn't have made it without that pasta.
Yeah, no doubt. To playing in Albany.
No, we went to Australia.
Oh, that's right. We went to Australia in 1992 to play winter ball, and then AA in Albany, New York, in the Eastern League. And then, we get put on the Major League roster after we're playing down in Venezuela, and we're planning, our drive out. I had the Maxima back then. In the Maxima.
And you had a phone.
That's right. I had the big house phone in the bag that got illegal cell service when you got out in
Texas.
in the middle of nowhere. And driving through
Barney.
Was it Barney and Marty and BJ? Was that the time?
No, BJ wasn't with us.
Okay, so that must have been another year. But, always had to have your whip, because you don't want to be bumming guys for ride. So we had planned our drive, but after KJ was traded, he was heartbroken. And I remember him. I'm see if you remember the whole drive, you were just talking about, I don't want to go. What about if I just don't go? What about if I just go with you to Fort Lauderdale? And I'm like, bro, you gotta go. You're not on my team anymore. You have to go. And I remember all the way till Clearwater at whatever hotel I dropped you off at. You got out. It was like you was going to war, and you're like, I don't want to go. I don't know anybody. I'm not gonna know anybody. And so I'm like, bro, this is it. I'll see you when I see you. And off he went to the Phillies, and then I carried on down to Fort Lauderdale. And did I see you that year in
94, because you were I want to say, was G'd up with you?
No, he came 95. I feel like he came 95.
Okay, because I thought he was with you in 94. Because because you guys came because you were Columbus Clippers, so I was Scranton. So I know we played against each other.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? You're right, because they had I want to say maybe Carlos Rodriguez was playing short for you guys.
Yeah, picky. Yeah.
Picky.
No, and it just to me, that when he got traded, because we back then also, we played basically the same team all the way through. Our team in Oneonta, maybe a few guys got moved around.
Yeah, most of the guys, if you got moved back in the day, you were usually like a utility player,
right,
or like a third catcher for an emergency. But whoever you started with at the beginning, you stayed the whole year. Guys didn't really get released a lot during the season back then.
Right.
So you were there, and it didn't matter what your numbers were. You could be having the best season ever. You were staying there because you kind of had to. We used to say almost like you had to master each level.
Right.
So there was 3 A-ball levels back then. So if you did well in the Sally League, you had to go and prove you could play in the Florida State and the Carolina League, or at least one of the higher ones. You had to prove that you can play there before you got out to be moved up. So
yes. Yeah. So definitely it was a big deal. I mean, like you said, we had the same squads all the way through. So when he got traded, for me, it hurt because it's like my partner, my best friend in baseball, gone. Just like it just made me realize that this is a business. These teams.
That was the first time we probably experienced the business side, because we hadn't had any of our core group. None of us had been traded. None of us. You had the same guys, and you had guys that had been in the organization for already 6-7 years. That were just starting like AA.
Yeah.
So you didn't. I'd say most guys probably played at least an average of 5-6 years before they got rid of you.
Right. Yeah, this is true. And I remember one instance, I think it was our first spring training, 91, where, we went to obviously minor league camp in Tampa, and, we went through the daily grind of the cage, and, and then the game started, and then the last, day or two, when they finally set the rosters. And that was another eye-opening experience for me, was when it was like the old school where they posted the names in the window of the training room or something.
And we'd make them though. Remember, we used to, everyone did it, which was kind of cool back then, is probably leading up to the last week of spring training, you'd have your group either in a hotel room, it might be like 6 or 7 in a hotel room, or you'd be like in the food room and you'd all sit down and you'd make the roster.
Right.
We'd all make, here, Aney's playing short, I'm at second. So we basically took our whole, 91, we took our whole, we just won the whole league. So we all gonna be together 100%. So we made the whole roster. We're like, all right, we might have added a player or two, but other than, I think it was Barney was going to be, Rich had already played there, but we thought he was going to go up to at least Carolina League.
Right.
But we made our whole roster, and how wrong we were.
yeah, exactly, because I think Sammy Militello shot through the fast. Well, Sammy was legit right out the jump.
It was ridiculous.
He threw the original sweeper. Cats calling them pitches. I'm like, shoot, Sam Militello was throwing that back in Cape Cod and Team USA, and when we was in Oneonta. So Sam,
I'd probably say that the thing with Sam that no one had ever seen at that level, even in college, Sam could reach back with men in scoring position. So Sam would throw like 87, 88, and then you get a man on third, and that dude would throw like 91 and just break bats. So he always had that ability to hump up in RBI situations. And I had never seen anyone that could do that, because most guys, they threw whatever they threw. But he realized that, dude, I don't have to try to throw maximum effort or as hard, really hard. I can get guys out. Literally, you talk about like I play with Schill, and Schill, he could throw.
Who's Schill?
Kurt Schill. Yeah. And he could reach back whenever he needed to. So if it was a big situation, he usually would throw like 90, 91 to 93. But if it was a big situation, he'd throw 97, 98. And I was like, and the first guy I'd ever seen do that was Sam Militello.
Yeah, and Sammy got to the big leagues. Like, we all were in the A-ball, and Sammy was in, where'd he go, Prince William, our first full year? Yeah. And then AA, I think
he might have been in AA at the end of his first year. 91. He was up in, I think, either 92 or 93. He was up early.
Yeah, he shot through. But we had, the Yankees scouting, player development, to me, if you want to copy something, they were on to something. Those cats back then, what was it, George Bradley, Bill Livesey, Brian Sabian, Bill Schmidt, who signed me as the GM now for the Rockies, and then KJ said Greg Orr, who's still scouting up in Sac my way. Our player development and our scouting, I mean, we have players on top of players, athletes, big body pitchers. I mean, we play with so many guys with great, some that didn't make it but had great arms. And it was just like, I thought everyone was like that, and it wasn't the case.
No.
That was the Yankees. I mean, Haji, Frazier, Tim Roomer,
Damn, that's right.
who else did we have that I'm just drawing
Our
up?
first year?
Yeah, I mean,
well, you figure Ojala,
yeah,
Fraze, Haji,
Sammy.
Oh, that was the next year. I was going to say Ramon Mignon, but that was the next year.
Michael Jackson.
He pitched in the big league.
Yeah.
Well, the crazy thing for the Yankees, at least for us, when we were first going to minor league spring training, I remember it might have been 92 after a game. And for whatever reason, usually in spring training, A-ball teams go away, and then the AA and AAA teams stay, and then you flip-flop. So you never see AA teams or AAA teams playing. So if you're an A-ball in spring training, that's you playing against A-ball. But for whatever reason, the AAA team was playing the Yankees AAA team. So we went over after to watch because our game was over, and their whole team almost their whole team was a big league team. They had Bam Bam Mullins in left. They had Gerald Williams was in right. Bernie was in center.
Wow.
Russ Davis was at third.
Russ Day.
Yeah. Brad Austin was catching. JT Snow was at first.
Yeah.
Andy Stankiewicz was at short or second. Like their whole team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was.
So you're like watching, and I think we knew that too. I think one of the things with the Yankees when we were in A-ball, I kind of equate it to how when you're in 8th grade and you watch a varsity team play, and you're like, oh, I'll never be able to play vars because those dudes are just way too good.
Right.
I'm not even going to worry about that because I'll never be able to do that. So you don't even, I see a lot now where people project with like their 12-year-old. They're like, oh, wait till you're 15. I'm like, you might not even want to play when you're 13.
Right.
We
present.
never, I think that helped us is from a young age is we never projected. We never were like, so when we're watching AAA, we're like, damn, bro, all right, I don't know if I'm ever play up here.
Right.
Because, we're A-ball, like,
right.
Which helped us because there was no worry. We weren't even looking to the next week. The only thing that mattered was literally that day. And I feel that's an advantage that we had, and I feel like any players at any level, that if you can have that mindset where, don't project yourself, don't let people project you. It's today, like literally. I mean, and that was one of my worries when you guys were going to go off. I'm like, man, I've only played in AA. I got to go to big league camp. I don't even know if I could play with these dudes. It was like the rowdy 93 Phillies. I didn't know anyone on the team. I'm like, at least with the Yankees, I know you guys, and I can hang out, and we'll just stay here for a couple of weeks before they send us back to the minors. Like that's literally the mindset,
Right.
At least it was. I don't now. I don't know. I hate saying now, but I just think that was our era when we came up.
Right.
We just. Man, it was just literally all about the moment. It was like the one game. That's all we thought about. It was enough,
Ricky Botalico. Me and KJ love facing him. Because Ricky was big on big. He just tried to go right at you.
And he would tell you too, because I know Ricky well. Ricky was what you'd consider an ego pitcher, which was like, okay. So we'd watch him warming up, and we're like, I think Leachy, every time he warm up, be like, oh, they got Botalico up. You know what's up now. This dude's going to try to go after all of us. And it just got us up because we literally knew, like, okay, this dude. It was one of the first dudes you faced which I loved, was a guy that's like, either I'm going to get you or you're going to get me. But he threw so damn hard. Why would he try to trick? He did have a nasty slider too. Yeah. But he'd come after you. And yeah, geez, that was
Yeah.
I forgot about
Yeah,
Ricky
Bo.
Bo.
I know, I forgot about. But no, because I know people, we gonna be telling these stories. I may have to get KJ back on again, but
When there's some fish in the damn pond.
yeah, I can't believe we ain't caught no fish in the big pond. We caught fish today, but not in this pond. So
they're not even gonna believe we ever fished.
Yeah, because this is Don't think that us not catching them, we don't catch them, because we catch them when we come. I'm talking 30, 40, 50, 60 fish in the 5 hours when we're out here. But today we're out here earlier, normal than we normally would be out here in the year. So, but it's a beautiful day. But I want to segue, KJ, into where were you when you got the call to the big leagues?
I was in Scranton, and so me and Mike Lieberthal were roommates. And for whatever reason that day, I got up early, and I went and got the USA Today.
The paper. Who reads the paper?
I used to read every day. Yeah, and I remember seeing they had traded Mariano Duncan. So I'm like, if they traded Dunk, and I'm the guy that's supposed to play up there after, maybe I'll get called up. So I went in. I ended up going into the. And I ended up going to the field. I went up early too. I went like really early because I was like, I don't know, I just had a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And my manager was Mike Quaddy. And Quaddy called me off and said, congratulations. And so once you get the call, and at least you know, it's just panic.
Mm-hmm.
It's just panic. And it's like, you never experienced nothing like that. Because it's like, oh my God, now what?
Right.
All you want to do is make the big leagues. Now what? Now they're like, okay, you're allowed to, come on the stage with us, and you're like, oh God, I don't know if I want to now. I just want to make it, but damn, now I got to do it.
So where was the team? Were they at home?
So they were at home. So I remember getting in my car. I had this old Honda Accord. Got in the car, drove down all the way down to Philly. And I remember driving over, I think it was off 95, and you could see the stadium. And back then, stadiums, a lot of them, they're kind of open, and they look like baseball fields. This was just a giant bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so intimidating because, you already hear all about Philadelphia. I've never been in that city, but you hear all the stories about how, tough the fans are and, how just insane it's going to be. So when I got there, I think I might have had a clubhouse kid get my stuff. And I remember one of the hard things when you get called up during the year is it's almost like I tell people, if you go to New York City for the first time and you walk around, you feel like you're the only person that doesn't know where the hell you're going. You're just walking around, looking around, and everyone else looks like they got a purpose. And when you walk in the locker room, and everyone's already in there, and everyone has a purpose, and guys are getting ready. Guys are going to the trainer's room to stretch. Guys are going to the food room. Some guys are going to hit. Video room. Coaches are walking. So you just kind of step in the room, and a couple people recognize you and head nods you. Hey, what's up? Congratulations! And it's like a surreal, overwhelming feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And so once I kind of got my bearings, and I think I got there too late even to take batting practice by the time I got down. So they're playing the Mets, and I go out, and I had never played in a stadium. Even when we played in Venezuela, those are stadiums.
We played in Double-A.
Oh yeah, but there was no one in there. We played against the Orioles.
Yeah, the Orioles. No, it wasn't Camden Yards. What's the name of that stadium?
Memorial Stadium.
Memorial, yeah.
And every time they hit a home run, they go, whoop, there it is. Remember the giant speakers in center field? Oh no, that was amazing. But there was no one there. But when you came out here, and it's, oh my God, there's a crowd. It's so many people. It's probably like 30-something thousand people. I never played in front of that many people. And I just remember sitting on the bench. And I was just like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And like the fifth inning, Jim Eisenreich goes, KJ, let's go. And I'm like, where are we going? He said, upstairs. I said, for what? He said, if we might have to pinch hit because it's like the fifth inning. I'm like, what? I didn't understand. So I followed Izzy up. I did a couple little bootleg stretches. I don't know, trying to find them. I'm trying to get loose. And it's crazy because everyone, you all want to play in the big leagues, but when they throw it at you, and they're like, all right, let's go. It's overwhelming because there's part of you like, I didn't say I wanted to play. I just want to be here. Let me get a couple days to get acclimated. I need a couple BPs. No, it doesn't work that way. So maybe it's the 5th or 6th inning. Fergosi's like, well, actually, it wouldn't have been Fergosi. It would have been the bench coach, who was John Vukovic, because the bench coach always tells you what to do. And Vuk's like, all right, Jordan, you're next. You're hitting this inning. You're hitting 3rd for the pitcher. All right. So I, get my bat and get loose, and I step out on deck circle, and it's blinding. It is like so blinding because the lights are so strong, and you're trying not to look around, but you kind of got to take it all in because it's overwhelming. And thank God. And I say thank God, not because he wasn't a good pitcher, but I already faced him. It's Dave Tailgater, who was with the Mets. So I had already faced him. So I felt confident because at least I knew what he had. So I think he went first pitch fastball, which of course I took. And then, but before that, the crazy thing is once they call your name, they call my name and I start walking to the box, I can't feel my body at all. And I'm talking about I physically I know I'm moving forward, but from my feet to the top of my head, nothing. I can't feel it, but I know I'm walking. I know I'm all this stuff. And I remember taking a couple practice swings before I got in, and no different than if I played a game in high school. I was like, all right, simple. Get a good pitch to hit and just put the bat on the ball. That's all I was thinking. I wasn't thinking, look, inner half, turn on something, sit on. No. So for me, it helped. And even when I teach, you can't coach a heart rate.
Right.
You can't coach a heart rate. I don't care. You can get all the information in the world you want, but when that thing is going and it's racing, then you have to always come back to basics and simplify. What do I need to do right now to be successful? All right, get a good pitch to hit and put the barrel on the ball. And that's all I was thinking. So I took the first pitch. I think I swung and pulled the second one foul. And 0-2, he threw me one probably chest high. And I hit a line drive to center field. And Damon Buford, as fast as he is, Buf came in and made a sliding catch. Now, I couldn't tell if he caught it or not. I was so happy that I put the ball in play. Once again, you want to put the ball in play. I was so happy I just put the ball in play, and I hit first base. And Joe West calls me out, and I remember I go back to my, you play it off like, man, all right, damn. All right, I'm all right. You try to play it off, at least with your body language. And then Kurt Schilling comes running down the tunnel. He's like, he trapped it. They took Joe West took that hit from you. He trapped it. He didn't catch it. I don't even know if he did to this day, whether or not he trapped it. This isn't like, this is back when, I don't even know. I know we had videotapes of games, but yeah, we did. It was definitely no replay. And definitely they weren't going to be showing it on the board. And when you were a rookie, and that's just in numerous sports, you had to pay your dues.
Right.
So, whether it be your strike zone being gigantic as a hitter or as a pitcher, yeah.
Or falling across the plate like guys do now. We knew you can't fall across that is earned. Or walking across the plate or walking behind the umpire. You a rookie, you had to go straight to you didn't look at the umpire, you didn't question nothing.
No. It's just different eras, and I'm sure when even in our era, in the 90s and early 2000s, everyone would have thought that our era was, man, you guys have no idea what it was like. So I think like anything else, every era is different. But no, we weren't allowed to, and it was, not only would you hear it from another team, the umpires would let you know that you're young. Everyone, the trainer would let you know, the clubhouse guy would let you know, hey, you can't do that here. Yeah, there was just rules. I'll tell a quick story. Glenn Murray got traded over to the Phillies, and Glenn had number 56. So he tells Mark Whitten, he goes, hey Whit, man, this number, I don't like this number. And Whit, who'd been playing forever and was not only respected but also feared by everyone because of his size, but he was super cool dude. Whit said, dude, go and tell the clubby. Go tell Frank So I was in the clubhouse, in the office. I don't know what I was doing in there. Glenn comes in there, just very politely goes, "Hey, Frank, that's number 56. I don't really like this number. You think I can get a new number?" And Frank looked up from his desk and looked Glenn right in the eye, and he goes, "Son, I don't think you got enough time in the big leagues to be asking me that question." And Glenn walked out of the office. So that's what I'm saying. Even the club, it was just kind of, you had to pay your dues, which was cool, which is, I still think it's a cool thing.
Right.
I still think that rookies, you don't have to have the hazing or the things that maybe we dealt with, but I think there should be a pecking order in terms of how you approach the game. But I think guys, I don't know that they're not being taught that, but we learned that early. My first week, I had Tony Longmire, who had played with the Phillies for a while, and he told me, which still to this day, the hardest part about the big leagues for me wasn't as much the playing was difficult. Obviously, you're playing the best players in the world, but dealing with like media every day. Luckily, I didn't have to really worry about it, but that can be hard. But I remember him telling me, he said, 2 things when you're up here: go hard every day, and don't lie to the media. Because they're going to catch you on it. If you make excuses or they will call you out on it. And he told me from day one, just be honest. If you make a mistake, you make an error or you strike out, it's not the umpire's fault, or they gave that to the pitcher. No, I think that's probably one of the biggest lessons I learned when I first got there was, dude, just be honest. But and I didn't have a problem playing hard anyway, but that you have to, especially in Philadelphia.
Right.
You have to.
No doubt. And okay, so also, KJ, I want to segue from that because I want to touch on briefly what you're doing now, but tell me about when you got your first hit, who you got it off of, what it was, where were you?
Greg Swindell. So my first start I got was 2 days later against the Mets. Gosh, I forgot it.
Okay, so before we finish up this, I wanted to ask Kevin who he got his first hit off of, where was he, and what was it, and what was going through your mind?
Well, before I got the week before, so I had my little pinch hit AB, and then 2 days later I started against the Mets again, and I'm like, oh, all right, lefty throwing, nasty. I forgot he had a nasty split. I can't remember his name because he pitched with the Expos forever as well as the Mets. So I'm like, all right, let me just go ahead and get my little hit out of the way, like it was that easy. So of course I go 0 for 5. So now I'm 0 for 6, and now I'm panicking. I think I got a couple more ABs. Now I'm like 0 for 10, 0 for 9. Then we go to Astrodome, and I'm starting against Greg Swindell. And I'm like, please, I got to get one hit. So I did. My first AB, I think he threw me a fastball down and away, and I hit a single up the middle. And then I was like, oh, my Lord, thank God. So it was off Greg Swindell it was in Houston Astrodome, which was awesome, And then the next inning, I don't remember who hit the ball. I just remember diving on that turf, and I came up, and the whole, from my wrist to my elbow, the whole backside of my forearm was torn away from the turf. And I mean all of it, and to where it looked like you see like it fell off a motorcycle or something. To where after like an inning, I had my whole back, it just looked like bubbles of water. Yeah, so that Astrodome was
that old school turf.
Unforgiving.
Yeah, that's awesome. A memory I'm sure you'll never ever forget. But before we get out of here, what are you up to now? What have you been up to? Because I know after you got done playing, you coached in the minor leagues for a bit. And so what are you doing now? Where are you at? How can people find you if they want to? Shoot, KJ, the thing now is remote training. A lot of people are wanting to do remote training. Shoot, maybe you want to train with them remotely, or either of us for that matter, remotely. So what are you doing? What are you up to?
I do hitting and fielding lessons in Belmont, California, which is probably, 20 minutes south of San Francisco. So I've been doing that for, 8 years now. Hitting, fielding, baseball, softball. I just like teaching. Heck, you were in pro ball longer than me. I just got to a point where I sitting in the hotel rooms, you know. I mean, as much as I love baseball, I just want to work, teach, and come home every day. So that's my passion. I always want to teach. I feel like in a weird way, or not in a weird way, like that's my strength is teaching. It wasn't playing. I always felt like my strength is teaching. I mean, heck, even for you and I, you know, when you're playing, when you're coaching, like you scouted, I did radio, you learn so much. I've learned so much baseball stuff just by the people I've met. I learned so much when I coached in Australia for years. I learned so much out there from the coaches in Australia. It was amazing. I feel like I learned more once I stopped playing than when I was playing. Because when you're playing, even if you're getting information, and you know, a lot of us, you know, we talk all the time. I think that was one of the, I don't know how, you know, players, I'm sure they still do, but we talked so much because we were up under each other and around each other so much playing. So that's all you literally do, or playing or talking about the game. But when you're playing, sometimes it's hard because you're like, I just have to catch the ball. I got to get hits. I got to.
Right.
But when you're in uniform or you're around the game and you don't have to worry about performing, then you can actually learn even more. And once I started coaching is where I would just pick people's brains.
Tell them briefly, because I know we're getting late, and we ain't catching no fish in this dang pond.
And I've used every lure today possible.
And this is our pond where we usually kill. We usually kill here, but the water is boo-boo, and we ain't catching nothing.
Nada.
But tell briefly, if you can,
Yeah.
you started talking about the other day when I talked to you on the phone, the Joe LaFay, you said something when we was in Harrisburg. So I thought that was interesting.
We were in Harrisburg, and we were sitting there on the bench, and Joe says, "You guys ever slow the ball down?" And we're like, "What?" What? Because Joe LaFay was such a good hitting coach for us. Because he played in the big leagues, and he just kind of had like a swagger to him. So we all gravitated to him. And it really helped because we had already been playing a couple years in pro ball. So we kind of, at least we thought we knew what was going on. And so Joe was like next level in terms of things. Even some of the drills, hitting drills I do now are from Joe. But I remember we were sitting in Harrisburg, and he said, "You guys know to slow the ball down?" We're like, "No, what? What do you mean slow it down?" He said, "Yeah, like literally. Now when you're playing, you watch this guy warm up. I want you to see if you can literally see the seams going." And we're like, "What?" And I just remember from that day on, every time I hit, like obviously I think with hitting is when you're going good, you have that ability. You have the ability. And I just remember like consciously, like every time. So when you slow the ball down, it's almost like everything relaxes. Your eyes relax, your body relaxes. We
finally got
come
one.
On now.
Oh, come on now, on camera. Finally on camera. Okay.
We're just not out here just doing nothing. We out to catch a fish.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
How lucky was that one? Damn.
Jeez, okay. Took us long enough. We've been out here for 2 hours.
Slowing it down.
Slowing
it down.
Nice.
My little fish. All right, so anyway, he just talked about that. Now it's crazy because you can, and all you're really doing to slow a ball down is literally just softening up everything in your body. It's when your feet land. When you land softer with your feet and your hands are back, you have the ability to be able to do it. I think that's literally when you talk to guys and they say they're seeing the ball well, it's just in those moments they are slowing it down. Now, for me, one of the things that I've told people, my whole career, I never did not see the ball good. Now, there's times you have issues, be it like let's say you have shadows or Leachy would know Toledo's old ballpark. Oh my God,
Ned Skellum.
Oh, you couldn't see. We used to talk about before we go in there, like, you better be doing well before you go to Toledo, because you know it's going to be 3 of the hardest games. But anyway, so for me, I saw the ball good my whole career, even years I didn't do well. And the years I didn't do well, I remember I had a good year in 99, 2000 I didn't. And I remember thinking, damn, why am I struggling? Because I'm seeing the ball the same as I always have. And I think for hitters, when you're struggling, it's because you're worried about everything back here and nothing out there. And everything out here is where the magic is. So the pitcher throwing the ball, that's where the magic is. But all your focus is back here on my hands and all that stuff. So I literally did not know where my barrel was at. So every time when I was hitting, I'm literally starting to swing and I'm just sitting there hoping to get my barrel on the ball. So I saw the ball great. It's just I was so concerned about my mechanics, which was rare for me, that I didn't know where my barrel is. So I think from a hitting standpoint, guys give themselves that out, like, oh, I'm not seeing the ball well, and I'm like, you don't lose it in a day.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, even if Leachy and I go right now, we're not going to be able to hit dudes blowing gas, but we'll still be able to see it. We might be able to get the barrel because we don't have, we're older, but you still, even at our age, he sits and watches a gazillion games. You still see, you can pick up rotation, you can pick up everything that you did as a player. So I think from a hitting standpoint, I always try to tell myself, slow the ball down, see the ball. And I think it's a lot easier when you're worried about the ball and not about your mechanical stuff. That's where guys get into trouble all the time. And you even hear when guys are going good, they're like, oh yeah, I made swing adjustments. And then you watch, you're like, you look exactly the same. Swing adjustments. Look exactly the same.
No, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. I'm going to definitely have to get you back on here because we come out here fishing quite a bit. So to close out, where can people find you, KJ? What are your social media, your handles that you spend time on? And your website?
Yeah, I have a website called KJ Hitting. Literally, it's that. KJ Hitting. I am on Instagram as well. It's KJ Hitting. And on my website and everything's my phone number, or, text me, call me. My email address is on there, Like I said, this is what I do. If I'm not out here fishing with Leachy, or my son's trying to turn me into a skier, if I'm not doing that, then I'm in the cage. And, we're just trying to pass on the things that we learned. We're very fortunate. The coaches we've had, just not even the coaches, but everyone we've met over the years. That we've gathered information. I think that's the thing is we were blessed to have something that we love, and we still, I'm 55. I still never worked a day in my life. I still don't know what I want to do. I would say, which is the beauty of as many years as we've been in the game. We just love teaching it and giving back, because we were taught so much and around so many good people.
All right, that's good stuff. Well, thanks for coming on the One Hit Wonder podcast.
Yes,
I definitely gonna have to do this again with you. And now I gotta get out, get my pole in the water because he's killing me on the fish. I've only got 3. He probably up to about 7 or 8.
7.
He got 7. So I don't know, but we got to get up out of here. Thanks for listening. And until next time, thanks, KJ, my man, for coming on.
Of course.
And here we are leaving beautiful Novato, California on March. I don't even know the date today. 7th? 6th. March 6th.
Boom, March 6th.
Catching fish. Shout out Damon Miner, our partner, hitting coach for the Giants, big giant. And anyone else that has come out here and want to fish, well, you know where we at, or hit me up, hit us up. We can fish and teach baseball at the same time, and hitting at the same time.